The Mahabharata is often remembered as the great story of the conflict between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. However, it is much more than a tale of war and family rivalry. It is one of the oldest sources of social and political thought in Indian civilization. Through its stories, dialogue, and teaching, it explores how individuals, families, rulers, and societies should live and work together. Unlike a simple historical narrative, the Mahabharata examines the challenges that arise when personal desire clash with social responsibilities. It asks important questions about justice, power, duty, and morality. The character constantly face difficult choices, showing that social and political life is really simple. In this way, the text becomes a guide for understanding human society. The epic represents a vision of society built upon dharma, a concept that refers to moral duty, ethical conduct, and social responsibility. Dharma is not described as a rigid set of rules. Instead, it required wisdom and judgment. Through various situations, the Mahabharata teaches that maintaining social harmony often depends on balancing competing duties and interests. As the story develops, questions about leadership and governance become increasingly important. The epic examines how rulers should exercise power and how they can maintain order without becoming unjust. This discussion formed the foundation of its political philosophy. Among the many ideas explored, one of the most significant is Danda Niti, the theory of governance and punishment. Danda Niti literally means the science of governance through authority. In the Mahabharata, it refers to the principle by which a ruler maintains order and protects society. The text recognizes that without ruler and enforcement, social life can descend into conflict, disorder, and injustice. According to the epic, human beings are capable of both good and bad action. While many people follow moral principles voluntarily, others may act out of greed, anger, or selfishness. Therefore, society requires an authority that can discourage harmful behavior and encourage respect for law and duty. This authority is symbolized by Danda, or the power to enforce rules. However, the Mahabharata does not view punishment as an instrument of fear alone. The purpose of Danda is not cruelty or oppression. Instead, it exists to protect the innocent, maintain justice, and preserve social stability. When used properly, it creates an environment where people can fulfill their duties and live peacefully. This epic repeatedly warns that excessive punishment can be just as dangerous as the absence of punishment. A ruler who governs through terror creates suffering and resentment. At the same time, a ruler who fails to punish wrongdoing allows disorder to spread. Therefore, effective governance requires balance, wisdom, and self-control. This balanced understanding of authority leads naturally to a broader discussion of the ruler's responsibilities. If power must be exercised carefully and fairly, then the king must follow certain moral principles while governing. These responsibilities are described through the concept of Rajdharma and duty of ruler. Rajdharma refers to the ethical and political duties of a king. In the Mahabharata, a ruler is not simply a holder of power. He is considered a guardian of society whose actions affect the well-being of all people. Therefore, kingship is presented as a responsibility rather than a privilege. The epic teaches that the first duty of a ruler is the protection of the people. Citizens should be able to live safely, pursue their livelihoods, and practice their responsibilities without fear. A king who fails to protect his subject neglects the very purpose of his position. Rajdharma also required the ruler to act impartially. Personal preference, family ties, and private interest should not influence public decision. Justice must be applied equally to all. Through various examples, the Mahabharata show that favoritism and bias can weaken both the ruler and the state. Another important aspect of Rajdharma is self-discipline. The king must control his desire, emotion, and ambition. A ruler who is driven by greed, anger, or pride may misuse power and harm society. Therefore, moral character is considered just as important as political authority. The Mahabharata further emphasizes that rulers should listen to wise advisors and remain open to honest criticism. Good governance does not depend solely on the king's judgment. It also requires consultation, reflection, and a willingness to learn. This idea leads us to the epic broader understanding of law and governance. In the Mahabharata, governance is not limited to the maintaining power or collection tax. It is viewed as a continuous effort to create justice, stability, and prosperity for society. The rulers are expected to ensure that social institutions function properly and that the needs of the people are not ignored. The epic teaches that law should be rooted in dharma. Rules and regulations are important, but they must serve the larger goal of justice. A law that causes unnecessary suffering or ignores moral principles fails to fulfill its purpose. Therefore, governance requires not only legal knowledge but also ethical understanding. The Mahabharata also stresses the importance of economic well-being. A successful kingdom depends upon agriculture, trade, and productive labor. The ruler should support these activities, protect resources, and create conditions in which people can earn their livelihoods honestly. Economic prosperity is presented as an essential foundation of social stability. At the same time, the king must remain aware of the conditions faced by ordinary people. Governance should not become disconnected from public life. A ruler who ignores the struggle of citizens may lose their trust and weaken the kingdom. Good governance therefore requires constant attention to the welfare of society. Another important principle is accountability. The Mahabharata suggests that rulers should regularly examine their own conduct and administration. They should identify weaknesses, correct mistakes, and ensure that officials perform their duties honestly. This concern for responsible governance appears clearly in one of the epic most famous political discussion, Narada's question to King Yudhishthira. In the Sabha Parva of the Mahabharata, the Sage Narada visits King Yudhishthira and asks him a series of detailed questions about governance. These questions are not simple inquiries. They function as a systematic examination of how a ruler manages the affairs of the kingdom and fulfills his responsibility. Narada first asks whether Yudhishthira is protecting his people and ensuring their welfare. The focus is not on the king's personal success but on the condition of the citizen. This reflects the idea that the legitimacy of a ruler depends largely on the well-being of those he governs. The sage then asks about financial administration. He wants to know whether the kingdom's resources are managed carefully and whether public wealth is being used responsibly. This question highlights the importance of economic planning and financial accountability in effective governance. Narada also inquires about minister and advisor. He asks whether trustworthy and capable individuals are being consulted on the important matter. Through this question, the Mahabharata emphasizes that wise governance depends on good counsel, expertise, and collective decision making rather than isolated authority. Another group of questions concerns security and justice. Narada asks whether criminals are being punished appropriately, whether the innocent are protected, and whether officers are carrying out their duties honestly. This concern reflects the central role of law and order in maintaining social harmony. This says further asks whether Yudhishthira remained disciplined in his personal life. He questioned whether the king controlled his desire, avoided harmful habits, and dedicated himself to public responsibilities. The message is clear. Effective leadership begins with self-governance. As the dialogue continues, Narada's question covered nearly every aspect of administration, including diplomacy, defense, agriculture, public welfare, and ethical conduct. Together, they create a remarkable comprehensive framework for evaluating government. Many scholars view this discussion as one of the earliest examples of systematic political analysis in Indian thought. Through this question, the Mahabharata represents an ideal image of leadership. A ruler should be just, informed, disciplined, compassionate, and accountable. The welfare of the kingdom depends not only on military strength or wealth, but also on the moral and administrative qualities of those who govern. The Mahabharata is far more than a story of heroes and battle. It offers profound reflection on society, governance, justice, and human responsibility. Through concepts such as Danda Niti, Rajdharma, and the teaching found in Narada's dialogue with Yudhishthira, the epic presents a sophisticated vision of political and social life. Its central message remains relevant today. Power must be guided by morality. Leadership must serve the people, and good governance depends on justice, wisdom, and responsibility. If you are still watching, I hope you are finding this content useful. Please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thought in the comment. Your support motivates me to create even more content like this.